What's up, bookish face? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys some of the books that I'll be reading in the month of March. Now, as always, don't hold me to it because I have this habit of, like I told y'all before, I tell y'all the same thing in every video. I have the habit of picking out books to read, buying the new releases of the books, new books, reading those, and not even touching the ones that I already picked out. Now, speaking of buying new books, let's see what books come out in March, because I'm going to automatically let you guys know that I will be reading the books that will be coming out in March first. So there's no books that I want to read in March that will be released. I have a list in my phone of new release books that I want to read and purchase in the date they come out, so that it can remind me on the day that this book come out to go buy the book if I haven't already pre-ordered it online. I like to do that every year just so that I can know what book come out, when it's released, and that I need to go pick it up and buy it. Now, I have a few books that I want to read, and not many, probably like 7 books that I want to read this month, but I know that somewhere along the line I'm going to want to mood read, or it's going to be a book that I want to read for a video, and I'm going to prioritize those books, because I don't want to just be stuck reading books that I know I may not enjoy at the moment because my mind is on reading something else. So, but we're just gonna, we're just gonna dive into the book, right? The books that I have to read right now. And the first book is Happy Stance by Tessa Bailey. A lot of people have been talking about how this book is full of spice, and I am very much interested in seeing what this book is about. Now, it's not that long. I probably can get through this book in one day if I sit my behind down and read it. It's 200 pages, 267 pages or so. 269 pages. So if I sit my butt down, I can read this book in a whole one day and get through this book. Now, apparently it's supposed to be one girl, one lady, 3 men type things, and I don't know exactly what this book about, because my Books A Million just got this book in stock, and when it was supposed to be released, I didn't do any research or see what the book was about for me to actually sit down and read it. Know what this book was about. But this is one of the books that I want to read, because I want to see what everybody's talking about and the hype behind this book. So that will be one of the books I will be reading. And the next book I will be reading is Real by Kennedy Ryan. I put this book in another TBR and I ain't never get to it. That TBR, I did end up reading half of the books that I put on the TBR, except for like 2. I want to say that was January TBR, but I want to read this. Apparently it's about this filmmaker and the actress. I want to see what the hype is about this book. After reading Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, I was just like, I want to read everything she wrote. So I purchased this book. It's pretty thick. How many pages does this book have? Because it is pretty thick. It's 416 pages in this book. So I want to read this and see what this book is about and what my thoughts is on this one. And the next book I want to read is a book that I've been crying and moaning and jumping up and down and screaming off a rooftop about. I want to read, and it's The No Show by Bethel O'Leary. I want to read this book because a lot of people was talking about how the ending of the book will make you cry, and I really want to know why this man stood up all 3 of these ladies. That's my main thing. I just want to know, what was he hurt when he's in a car accident? Was he a ghost? I want to know what he did, what stopped him from going on the dates with these women. Now, I should have read this book in February, but I just got it like 2 days ago. I drove all the way to Warner Robins, to Books A Million. I'm still Barnes & Noble's up there, and found this book here. I want to read this book. I want to see what it's about. I want to see why he stood them up, because 3 women, you stood up all 3. Like, you can make it to not one date. You couldn't make it to one. All 3 women you stood up. I want to know what he was doing. I want to know, did he have a wife and kid at home already, if you already trying to go on a date with 3 women? So the next book Okay, so the next book I want to read is Magnolia Park. A lot, girl, the way that people have been hyping this book up, and I really was deciding whether or not I wanted to read it, mainly because of the toxic relationship in it. But then I realized it's just a book, it's just fiction. It's not gonna trigger me. Everybody don't deal with toxic people, but I'm ready to read this book and see what it's about, because a lot of people on Book Talk, YouTube has been talking about how this book is just like the toxic book in the world. The relationship between BJ and Magnolia is just so toxic. They could not stand it. Like, but I want to read it. I want to see what's tea. So, we're going to read this month. The next book I'm going to be reading. This book was so hyped up. Like, everybody and their mama, their daddy, their uncle, their grannies was giving this book a 5-star all last year. And that is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This book was just entered Books A Million on last week. So I went and picked it up because I want the physical copy of it. And I could have read it on my Kindle a long time ago, but it's nothing like holding the book in your hand and reading it. So I wanted a physical copy, so I want to pick this up. Apparently, it's about a figure skater and a hockey player. So everybody was talking about the found family in this book, how they just love this book so much. So the only sports romance I ever read has been The Deal by L. Kennedy, and I haven't even read the rest of the books in this series, so I'm gonna get around to doing that as well, but not this month. But I wanted to read this one first because it was so hype. Like they was hyping this book up so bad, so I want to see what it's about, see if I like it, see if I give it a 5-star as well, and you know, share with you guys my thoughts and opinions on that book itself. Now the next book, I have physically been walking in the bookstore looking at this book and being like, nah, I ain't gonna buy that book. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not even gonna do that to myself. But I decided to just bite the bullet and buy the book and see and read it. I know this book is gonna trigger me so bad, and I don't even know why I want to do this to myself, but I know it's gonna trigger me so bad. The Little Life. A Little Life. I don't know. This book is like 800 pages, and we're gonna try to squeeze this in this month because I want to go ahead and read this book and see what it's about. At first, I thought when I first seen this book, I was like, oh, it's about like somebody's life or something, like maybe the author life, and I was like, maybe that's what this book is about. But the way everybody was kicking it, that's not what it's about. It is about 4 college students and their life and the triggers and traumatic. I need to look up the trigger warnings for real, because although I've heard people mention the trigger warnings in this book, I really need to actually sit down myself and look up the trigger warnings. I wonder, I was trying to see if they had like it in the front of the book, like, hey, before you read, this is what this book is about, like this is what this book contains. But apparently it's not in the front cover of the book. But wish me luck. Pray for my mental health. Yeah. Okay. But if the March TB reading wrap up come out and you see I ain't read this book, just mind your business, because I just do not know. I do not want to be triggered. But I want to read this book because everybody's talking about how this book is just so good. Like, although it's like it touched on some tough topics, they were just mentioning how good this book is. So I want to read that book this month. And in order for me to read it, I might make it like the first book I read in March, so that I know I'm gonna read that book. So wish me luck. The next book I want to read is 7 Days in June. This book has been highly talked about all February. I've been seeing so many people talk about this book that I decided, let me just go buy this book and see what's going on. Everybody say they love this book. I don't even know what this book about. I just want to read it. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. this is the book that we're going to be reading too. And the next and final to last book that I'm going to be reading this month is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This is another book that I've been seeing all over BookTube for the past 2 to 3 months, all last year to be exact. Apparently it was like a Goodreads award-winning book, so I wanted to read this as well. So apparently it's about some gamers, but yeah, those are all the books that I will be reading or trying to read in March. We will see when it comes back around to March reading wrap up, so if I read any of these books, 2 of these books, at least one of them. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.